Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Crystal. I'm your hostess, Crystal, and this evening we are joined by Rick Kelly. Good evening, Rick. How are you going today?
Good, thanks, Crystal. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
good.
Now, Rick, I've known you for a little while now, and I love your style of playing, and I love what a genuine, nice person you are as well.
Oh, thank you.
You are. So you have a band called
Homebrew.
Homebrew Bandits, is it? Oh, the
No, just homebrew
just
band.
homebrew. I beg your pardon.
Homebrew band. So yeah, where the homebrew comes in from is it's almost like a real thing, you know. So yeah, so we play mainly 60s and 70s, I suppose, classic rock, Pink Floyd and Kinks and the Who and some Rolling Stones and yeah, people like that. And I suppose we, to some extent, we put our own spin on it a little bit, but we try and get reasonably close to the original artist, and sometimes we'll do a live version that we find, you know, sort of going around, rather than the well-known studio version on
Yeah,
some songs. So yeah, so we tend to sort of mix that up a bit. So
yeah.
yeah,
And you also do a duo called the Cracked Cats.
Cracked Cats, that's correct. Yeah, so that's been going now for, gee, it's getting close to 7 years, I suppose. And we play a lot around the Hawkesbury and Lower Blue Mountains area of Sydney. Cafes, we do the occasional pub gig here and there, but mainly cafes, and we played a lot on the Hawkesbury paddle wheeler for a lot of
Oh,
years when that was going. We had a regular at least once or sometimes twice a month on a Sunday on the paddle wheeler for a lunchtime cruise, and then also did a fair few New Year's Eves on the paddle wheeler as well, which was a lot of fun. So
it sounds like a
hopefully,
lot of fun.
yeah. So hopefully that's going to get up and going again in the next few months. They had a hard time with COVID and also with those floods that we had
Yeah.
back the last couple of years. That really hurt the business and has meant that the paddle wheeler hasn't been able to do its thing for probably the last 18 months to 2 years. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that's hopefully going to get up and running again soon. So and that they were great supporters of all types of music and lots of musicians playing on that. So good fun.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I I've got to ask, did any of
Yeah.
those New Year's Eve parties get really rowdy?
Yeah, quite a few did. And sometimes, yeah, getting the worst one was the last one I think that we did, and it was the mooring or the pontoon that we used to get on and off the boat at Windsor was closed down because they were building the new bridge, and so we had to get on the boat at Lower Portland, and it was moored out in the middle of the river, and so trying to get a PA
Oh,
and
goodness.
guitars and all that sort of stuff out into the middle of the river off a little tinny. Uh,
No way.
yeah, and then on the way back, they actually dropped us on a boat ramp, and trying to work out or make sure that all my guitars and gear and everything got off the boat, and then the anyway, yeah, there was fun times, yeah,
That's
doing that
what you
sort of stuff.
that's what you
Mm.
call a very intense lug in and lug out.
Lug out, yeah, well, yeah, lugging in, lugging out in a boat and in a little dinghy
Oh, wow,
is
that's hilarious.
yeah, is good fun. So Yeah, so that's probably one of the most memorable ones.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You wouldn't forget that in a hurry.
No, no,
I'm just glad nothing went over into the water.
no, no, me too. So yeah, yeah.
So, Rika, who or what was your earliest musical influence or inspirations?
Yeah, I suppose I grew up in a house. My dad was a jazz nut, and
Oh, wow, cool.
yeah, he loved jazz music, and he didn't play an instrument, but he had a pretty good knowledge of jazz, and he could sit down and pick out all the players in a particular band, just by listening and saying, okay, yeah, that's X, Y, Z on each instrument and everything, and so that was he liked a lot of boogie, and so I grew up with Fats Waller and Stefan Grappelli and Django Reinhardt and all of that genre of music.
That's what I call a good upbringing.
Yeah, and then I had a sister that she was right into blues, an older sister. So she got me into Rory Gallagher and Johnny Winter and Muddy Waters and
Hmm.
all of those sort of people. Um, and then probably I started playing when I was a little kid. I played the cornet in a brass band.
Oh, that's cool.
Uh,
Like with school or?
no, it was the Riverston band. I think I only probably went for 2 or 3 months, and then I was only very young. But I think I learned to play one scale or something.
Hmm.
And then I played the drums for a long time, and used to go to the Police Boys Club at Parramatta. Used to have a drum corps, which was like
Marching
marching
band, yeah.
band
Yeah.
type of drum music. They had a pipe band, but I never ever did the bagpipe thing. But yeah, I used
Oh,
to go to drum corps and then played as well. I was lucky. The guy next door to me, he was a show band drummer, and he sort of got me playing on a drum kit and lent me a nice old drum kit. And yeah, so I played the drums for a long time, and then
that's cool. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah, and then my sister started going out with a guy who was a jazz guitarist and
Oh,
was
lucky
studying at
her.
the con,
Yeah.
and so then all of a sudden I was exposed to all these great jazz players, and that they had like a bit of a party share house down in Parramatta that they used to have these really crazy jams and things, and every now and again I'd be allowed to come along and hang around a bit. This is when I was, sort of probably 13, 14-year-old teenager type of thing. So
Yep.
yeah, that sort of got me playing guitar. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
So when you first started guitar, so you were quite young, did you have a formal lesson or did you just these jazz guys kind of teach you different chords and
Yeah,
different
look,
things like that?
yeah, they sort of taught me a little bit. I remember a guy gave me a book that I still I lent to somebody. I never got it back, and it was
Oh,
a Berkeley College of Guitar, which is the sort of place to learn in the States. And he more or less said to me, "Well, if you can play everything in this book, then you're a pretty good guitar player." But I lent the book to somebody. I never got it back. So
oh, that's a terrible shame.
yeah, no, I did all the Smoke on the Water and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. I just did that, and then yeah, I think he taught me a few bits and pieces, and then but then I think they ended up moving down into the inner city, and then I think he went his own way eventually,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then that was it. So
Yeah. So how did you get your first start? Like the first time you did either a solo gig, a band gig, or a duo gig?
um, so with me, I sort of I did well. So from that time on, I sort of always played, but I played a bit in some bands and jammed with people and bits and pieces, but I didn't get right into doing that, sort of when I was younger, and then had sort of kids and that young, and that sort of sort of meant that I didn't sort of go down that path too much. But then I started. I'd always jammed with people and bits and pieces, and then I remember driving past the Carousel Hotel.
Oh, the good old Caro at Rudy
Garrett,
Hill.
yeah, about probably 20 years or probably 20 plus years ago,
Yeah.
and seeing this jam night, thought, oh well, I should go and have a look at that, because I'd sort of been playing and doing bits and pieces, and so that was really sort of went along there and just met a lot of people like you, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and all the rest of them, and so that sort of really got me, sort of kicked off again playing with people, and trying to get out there and play more.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was a really good thing.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Those jams were just Jim Finn put on a great experience, I think.
yeah, playing with those, sort of guys, Al Britton
Yeah,
and Adam Pringle, Paul Serrani, and a lot of the people then that I met there are still good friends now, and there's a few people that have passed away. Wayne Knight was a
yeah,
fantastic musician who I used to love playing with, and he was a great friend as well. So so I met a lot of people there, and I suppose you sort of sit around in your lounge room and you can get away with a lot because there's no consequences to your mistake. You don't have to keep time, and you don't have to be sympathetic to other players around you and all that sort of stuff.
yeah. But it makes you
And
incredibly lazy, doesn't it? I
it
think, as
does.
a
Well, you
player.
just you do. You sort of. So I think that jam there was really good. Not only did I meet a lot of people, but the guys there were very generous in one they were very respectful of you,
Yes.
and also they gave you some good advice, and so that was there. So from there I started playing a bit more with people and meeting other people,
Yeah, yeah.
and then so I don't know if you know Keith Herbert. He's the drummer.
Yeah.
Anyway, Keith. I started playing with Keith and his wife, and then I went there one day, and there was a couple of other guys there who I'd briefly sort of met, and that was John Costello and Ian Baines.
Yes,
So
yes.
anyway, we started sort of playing a bit together a little bit on a Saturday afternoon, and then we said, oh, we really should put a band together. And so then we invited Malena Barrett to come and sing with us, and
Yes.
she said yes, which was lovely.
Oh,
And
she's
then she said,
gorgeous.
well, I'll come if I can bring a keyboard player that was a friend of hers, who's Jeff Morris.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably that was all out of that Carousel sort of crowd. We put this, and also Keith ran a jam at Prospect called
Oh,
Prospect Hotel called All Comers. So
I never knew about
so
that
out
one.
of that we put. Sorry.
I said I never knew about that one.
Oh, okay. It was on a Sunday. It was a
Oh,
Sunday afternoon, and at the Prospect pub. Anyway, we put together this band, which was good fun, and also for me it was great experience playing with these people, a lot of them who were either seasoned professionals or had been seasoned professionals,
Yeah.
previously. So that was great.
Yeah. And did you find too that you soon saw where you were maybe a little bit lacking or a little bit lackluster, and you wanted to be kind of as good as them, so you stepped it up, you went home, practiced more.
Yeah, that's it.
And
And
I think that's great inspiration, actually.
it is, and you don't want to be the one that lets the team down, and that was a great thing as well with the carousel. I can remember I always wanted to play with Wayne
Yep.
and also Stevie Varrigai,
Yes, yeah.
and they used to always do. They used to do All My Love by John Mayall
Mm-hmm.
and Long Train Running by the Doobie Brothers
Yep.
and
Great song.
Badge by Cream. And I can remember, the first time up there, just completely out of my depth, didn't know what was going on. And this is before iPads as well, so
Yeah.
you're just up there raw, just trying to look at the other guy's fingers to work out what's happening. But then I used to go away and you'd write down, from the carousel, I've got the greatest collection of beer coasters with chord charts written on the back of it.
Fantastic.
Still got them. They're prized possessions.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I try and talk to people and just write down, the chord charts on the back of the coaster.
Oh, that's
But
classic.
but then also just just want to practice, go home, try and learn those songs, learn your bits, and then hopefully, the next week you'd get a chance to get up there and play with those guys. And sometimes it wouldn't happen because there'd be, other people there, and Jim and Al would put together, try to put together people, I suppose sometimes with similar sort of capabilities, and then they'd throw a couple of our lesser lights in there to give us a bit of a lift up. So that was good fun. Very good
Oh,
fun.
yeah. And I think that both those guys, Jim and Al, they did a great job on gauging people and who people get along with as well.
Yeah, that's it for
Mm,
sure.
mm, mm.
Yeah. So no, I got great memories and many, lifelong friends. From that time, I still run into them all over the place now, and
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, that's for sure. So you mentioned about that your dad loved jazz and that your
Yeah,
sister went out with a or she liked blues, was it? I beg your pardon. She went out with a jazz player, but she liked
but
blues.
she
So
was a blues person.
what do you like? What is, like, you probably have a little bit of all of those within you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but if you were to go to one genre, what would it be?
yeah. I suppose probably blues. I suppose is my favourite. Although actually I've never been much of a songwriter, but I love good songwriting.
Yeah.
um, and probably my if you have a look at my CD or record collection, Tom Waits is my sort of favourite um, lyricist, and I love good lyrics. I like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
good
Yeah.
lyrics, but then I also really appreciate good musicianship. It's a bit hard, but probably jazz blues, I suppose, or that style is probably what I most like.
And when did you start to sing?
Yeah, that was not too long ago, actually. Few years back, we were Curly Pete Nicholson, guy from Windsor, was running a jam at the Hawkesbury Hotel, like a bit of an acoustic jam.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy called Mick Finch, he was another one from the Carousel. He used to get up and he's a pretty good singer and played some guitar and bits and pieces. Anyway, he'd had he'd had a few health issues but he was feeling okay, and he said, "Oh, can you get up and sing some songs with me?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll get up and play you sing." And we used to do Walking the Dog and a couple of other bits and pieces. Anyway, we did Walking the Dog, and he said, "Oh, I haven't got any energy anymore, I'm going." And so he left. He walked off stage. He said, "I just can't do this. I'm beat."
Oh,
and
wow.
so I was standing there with lyrics in front of me and thought, okay, well, here we go. I'll give it a go. So,
Wow.
yeah,
So
that
you'd
was it.
never really done any singing until then?
No, nothing really. Pretty well,
Ah,
no.
well, I think that's a great achievement. Good on ya.
Yeah. So, and then once I did it, it was, I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't think I'm a songbird by any means, but
Listen, I don't think you're too bad at all, mate.
yeah, build them. If it's in the right key, I can get something half reasonable out. So,
And you know that I think as a vocalist too, songs have to be in the right key for you.
oh, they do, yeah.
Yeah, like I remember being in a band a long time ago, and I said that's not the right key for me, and he said no, it has to be played in that key, and I said no, you can change it. No,
Yeah.
no, and I just thought you don't know any theory, mate.
Yeah. Oh, capos are our friend.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
it's extremely important as a vocalist to have the song in the right key,
it is,
to know
and
where your highest note is and where your lowest note is, and work in between that range.
that's right, and yeah, and just to work within a range that's comfortable for you, but. Yeah, I'm not a great fan of capos as far as, especially with on an acoustic guitar. I just think they just take a lot of dynamics out
Yes.
of the guitar.
Yep.
So Crack Cat's my singer is Maggie, and we capo for a lot of the songs. And I'm always giving her a hard time about the capo. Yeah, I try and sneak, especially if it's only on the first or second fret. And I say, well, you sing other songs that have got these chords in them, can't you? Just do it, But anyway.
Well, I can answer that because it's probably only a tiny handful of songs I can sing in F.
Yeah.
Right, but my best keys are like D, G, A, C.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So for F, I can do it, but it's only a handful of certain songs. So
yeah.
that's interesting, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah. See, I like singing. I like singing in F. Yeah. So, but I hate playing guitar in F.
Well, yes. Who wants to do an F bar chord? I mean, that's just
I know.
pain.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a pain, that is. And
so that's the capo comes in again.
Yeah, when I first started playing guitar, I thought, I'm never going to be able to do an F bar chord. Never. But of course, you learn to do it. You get the strength eventually. So you play acoustic guitar, Rick?
Yeah, I've got I play acoustic guitar and electric guitar. So
Okay.
yeah.
And what was your first guitar that you bought or was given?
I think the first one. Well, I got this is around the time with my sister and the jazz guy. I got a little classical guitar, nylon string, and of course I did what every 13 or 14-year-old boy that gets a nylon string guitar does.
Put steel strings on it. I knew exactly what you were going to say. I've heard that story.
Yes, I think snap the neck. Yeah, so or bowed it,
Yeah.
Bowed it terribly. But so that was the first one that I had, was that one, and then I think I had a couple of acoustic guitars. One I remember I dropped off a used to leave it on top of my wardrobe, yeah, I don't know how or why or something, but
It,
I was getting it down from the top of the wardrobe once, and it dropped on the ground and split into 10 or 15 pieces. And
oi.
bits went everywhere. So that was that one,
Oh dear.
and then I bought there was someone's cousin turned up. They were travelling, and I think they were low on money and bits and pieces, and I bought a Japanese 335 copy,
Mm-hmm.
and that was probably my first electric guitar from this guy. Which I sold a few years later, and it's one of those ones it was a funny sort of name, and I Google it every now and again now because we can Google.
Yes, thank goodness.
And I did find one. I found one. A guy had the same guitar, but it wasn't my guitar down in Albury.
Mm.
And I said to him, "Look, I'd be interested in buying it, but how about you meet me at Yass?" And he wouldn't do it. So he's
Oh,
probably still got it. Yeah,
probably.
yeah. So that was the first electric guitar. It was this. It's like a Gibson 335, a Japanese
Right.
copy. So yeah.
So are you a Gibson or a Fender or a Gretsch man?
Oh well, I'm a bit greedy actually. I got a bit of a. I'm not in Alistair's league, but yeah, I've got a bit of a collection. But it's funny. I've always played pretty well Fenders,
Yep.
um, and Stratocasters mainly, and
The
but
working man's guitar.
yeah, and like I said, I sold my 335 copy, but I've always wanted that style of guitar, so I was lucky enough a couple of years back to have a couple of extra bucks in my pocket, and I bought a Gibson 339,
Oh,
which
lovely.
is a little bit smaller than a 335.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And yeah, I must say it's probably become my favourite guitar to play. It's a
That's
pretty good
nice.
guitar, and it's
Cool.
spoiled. It lives on my lounge. It's got its own little pillow, and it just
Good. Does it have a name though?
it does. It
And that
does.
is
It's called Northcott.
Northcott. Okay.
Yeah, which is a bit weird, but what it was so that's where I grew up on Northcott Road, and
Okay. Why
so
not?
when my parents passed away and we sold the house, and I got a couple of bucks, I thought, no, I'm going to buy that guitar, and I thought, well, I'm going to call it Northcott in honour of where I grew up.
You know what? That's a lovely story.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
That is a lovely story. You know what
yeah,
I've always wondered, this has just popped into my head. So
yeah,
you've got your electric guitar amplifiers, but
yeah,
you also have like your acoustic guitar amplifiers. Do
yeah.
you use uh, acoustic guitar amplifier or for your acoustic guitar, or do you use a like electric guitar amplifier? Is
No,
it
I just I use it for the acoustic guitars. I use the DI and just go into a PA.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
So many
actually
people do.
use
Yeah.
so I don't use an amplifier for that.
Hmm.
So yeah, for the duo stuff, it's just a DI and then into the PA.
Well, it's a lot less gear to carry, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, for the electric for band gigs and that, yeah, I used to use a Fender amplifier usually. So
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
Have you ever played through like a Vox or a Marshall?
I have I had a oh well, it's funny. My son plays guitar as well, and his first amp he bought was a Marshall,
Oh,
and
blow
then
your
it stopped.
eardrums out.
Yeah, and then it stopped working. So he said, "Oh," and he bought another amplifier. So he said to me, "Oh, you can have that Marshall amp if you want, Dad." I
Mm.
went, "Oh, that's nice," And he goes, "It's not working." I went, "Oh, that's okay." So stupid me, I go and get it fixed up and get it going. It was a new speaker. The speaker had blown. I bought a new speaker, got it all fixed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little Marshall combo, I think it's 40, 50 watt Marshall combo, but all valves.
Oh, they scream. They absolutely scream.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Anyway, and then he said to me, I think his other amp player was playing up when he had a gig to do. He said, "Oh, can I borrow the Marshall?" I went, "Oh, yeah, okay." So that was it. I've never seen the Marshall again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then it played up again about a month ago, and he had to put it in to have it fixed. And he joked with me that the guy's got the Marshall, and it's going to cost you $300 to go and pick it up.
Good on him.
Yeah. He tried anyway. Yeah. So.
Well, I think that's the thing with tube amplifiers is you've got to have them serviced.
Yeah.
You know, you really do to get the best out of them, and especially if they happen to run hot. You know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've got a couple. I've got a little one that I just use for the jam nights, just a little 15 watt Fender, which is, plenty loud enough for, just small rooms and bits and pieces. Yeah. But, no, the valve amps are good. Some people like their modelling stuff and the digital and all of that, but yeah, I'm still a bit old school. I like analog stuff and valve amplifiers. I think most of the digital stuff you're looking at is just trying to replicate that sound anyway. So
that's true.
Why not just have it?
Yeah. And I think too, if you're playing like in a band or whatever your act is, and you've just got only a couple of knobs on the top to worry about, then that's way less stress than a modelling amp that's got 10,000 different buttons.
Yes, yeah.
Or knobs, That to me just seems like a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be good in the recording studio, but then again, why wouldn't you want to use a tube amp anyway?
Yeah, I do keep in my little gig bag of tricks. I do have like a little plug-in modelling thing.
Mm-hmm.
That just in case the valve amp. Usually, I take a spare amp to a gig anyway.
Yeah.
But I do keep as well. I've got like a little. I think it's a Fox actually. Little plug-in modelling thing, which gives a half sort of acceptable sound, but it's still not like
absolutely
still not like a nice warmed up tube amp.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell the difference, that's for sure, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we spoke about guitar. Was there any other instrument that you played?
Or
play?
I play. I bought a mandolin a few years back, but I haven't. I can play about 3 chords, and I think I can play Copperhead Road on it. And that's about it. But I saw Steve Earle up at Blues Fest this year, and he came out and did Copperhead Road on his own, just with a little mandolin. So,
well, you know what? You've given me some inspiration, because during COVID, I watched a video clip, I guess, of Rod Stewart and Maggie May. And so I went and thought, I'm going to go and buy a mandolin.
Yeah.
So I did, and you know what? That's the only damn song I can play on it.
Which one? Copperhead Road?
No, sorry, Maggie May.
Mandolin Wind. Oh, Maggie May. Actually, yeah. We'll see. The singer in Crack Cats is Maggie, so I sort of surprised her one day with the introduction to Maggie May as well. But
it's fun, and I'm having a great time with it, and I can play a stack of chords on it. But I'm kind of like at the point now where I need to like learn another song on it.
Yeah. Oh no, that's good. No, I've got that. I've got a ukulele as well. I sort of I can play a little bit of ukulele, and I've got a dobro.
Oh, love the dobros. Love. So you play a bit of slide there, Rick?
Yeah. Well, actually, before I went to the carousel, that was pretty well all I did was played slide guitar. So, um, yeah. So no, I do play a bit of slide guitar, and I've just
Nice.
started recently trying to play more standard tuning slide rather than the open tuning stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah, which is, it's good to keep your brain active, I suppose. You've got to think a little bit more about what you're doing if you're
Yeah.
trying to play in open tuning, but in standard tuning. But
Yeah, that's right, that's right. But yeah, it's and that's a great thing about music, isn't it? That it does keep your brain alive, it does keep you thinking, it does,
oh, for sure. Yeah,
and music
yeah.
and music's that universal love, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You can even something quite simple, to get just the GCT chord. I mean, you can play those chords,
Yeah.
in so many different ways, and with so many different feels, just to get completely different feeling, or convey different genres, just within those three chords.
Yeah.
Uh, Depending on how you interpret them and present them, I suppose.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So what have you got on your drawing board there, Rick? What is it that so you've got your Crack Cats. When are you doing any gigs with them coming up?
Yeah. We've
Oh,
got
sorry, with Mag. Sorry, with Maggie coming up.
with Maggie with the Crack Cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this Saturday we're up at Kermond Grocer, which is at Kermond, which is sort of, you could drive out through Richmond, North Richmond, and then the next little town that you get to is Kermond. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a little grocery shop up there it's like a grocer and cafe and food, and then he's got a lot of local produce and local artwork and bits and pieces. So it's just a guy up there, Nav, who's he's trying to just make a little bit of a feel good scene, I suppose, up there a bit, and
Yes.
also attract people. He's sort of at one end of the shopping centre, and there's another cafe at the other end. So I think he's just trying to attract people down to his end a
Yes.
little bit, which
And you know
is,
what? Nothing wrong with that at all.
yeah. So we've got like a little bit of a residency there. We play there on the second Saturday of every month
Oh, that's cool.
for
That's
a couple of
cool.
hours, and yeah, it's lovely. You sort of get different people walking past, and sometimes last time we played, a family turned up, and they were people that were out in the area house hunting.
Oh,
Um, and we're looking at a couple of open homes and bits and pieces, and had come in for a coffee and some breakfast, and yeah, they were really good. It's just a nice family with teenage kids and bits and pieces. So and then you get the locals, and there's weekends. There's always a lot of motorbikes and people with their cool cars going for a run up the
oh, that's
Bellina
cool.
Road. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that having you guys there probably brings those people into the joint on their way, on their runs and stuff like that. That's
Yeah,
what
well,
I
that's
think.
it.
They probably go, oh, let's go in there. It's real cool. These guys are playing, you know. And
Yeah,
so,
come and have a coffee, and yeah.
yeah, and enjoy a bit of laid back music. Well, actually, speaking of the music, what kind of music do you guys play?
So that's, yeah, it's laid back, I suppose. We do, what do we do? It's really hard to talk to think, but we do a lot, like we do, bit of Nora Jones, and we do, because we've got Maggie's got a nice female sort of voice, so we do some Nora, and I suppose we do things like The Weight, and these boots are made for walking, and so a lot of the same things, 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
sort of easy listening. We do a bit of Rod Stewart. But then we'll do, I Want You to Want Me by Cheap Trick as well,
Yeah,
like
cool.
acoustic versions of that.
Yeah.
I do a bit of Tom Waits, We do a bit of Gillian Welsh. Eel and Jewel I'm a bit of an Eel and Jewel fan, so
Yeah.
we do a couple of Eel and Jewel songs. So yeah, that bluesy, rootsy, middle of the road,
Yeah.
a lot of things people might know the songs, but
They
they're
know the
familiar to
tune.
them anyway,
Yeah,
So
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah. What was the best live act you've ever seen?
Oh wow. Yeah, it's sort of hard because you sort of see. I've been a bit of a blues fest tragic, and I've been to that. Went to my first blues fest in 1994,
And where
and
was
I
that at?
Belongil Fields at Byron Bay,
Oh, yes, cool.
and then I've pretty well. I haven't gone every year, but I think I did about 10 or 11 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
And then I missed a couple, but I went last year. Yeah, wow, too many last year. Well, this year, I mean, I saw Jackson Brown and
Oh,
the
cool.
Doobie Brothers.
Cool.
BB King. Seeing people like that. The Paladins, a rockabilly band called the Paladins.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, big fan of them.
They're real
I love.
cool.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have backstage access and all that sort of stuff one year, and that was the year the Fabulous Thunderbirds played,
Oh, they're
and
really cool
Little
too.
Charlie and the Nightcats, and
Yeah.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. Robin Ford, probably, yeah, Robin Ford. I remember having this fantastic mental experience watching Robin Ford play, and it was just like, it was almost like you were at another level of consciousness, or I was. And there was no funny stuff involved either. It wasn't like
No.
the
It's just
yeah
that
there was
that's where the music took you, and I think
yeah
that is
yeah
incredible, isn't it, to
yeah.
experience that?
And then there's the other side of that was I've never really been a big Neil Finn or Crowded House fan,
Hmm.
but I saw Neil Finn there playing to 20,000 people or something.
Wow.
Just a man on stage, with a guitar,
Yeah.
singing his songs, and having people, you could have heard a pin drop.
Oh, that's fantastic.
There's lots of things like that. It's not necessarily all about the performance and having something, like really showy, but just seeing something really classy and
Yeah.
seeing people that are good at their craft and what they do, and yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever go down, or have you ever been down to the Goulburn Blues Festival?
No, actually, funny enough, no.
Yeah.
So
Well, we've been down there and it's pretty good. I mean, you get to see PJ and Chloe Kay
yeah,
and
yeah,
Simon Kenny Lewis and
yeah,
and all the rest of the guys down there. But it's a nice laid back time as well. All
yeah.
different
No,
venues
I've heard
around the
that about
place.
Goulburn, and also Thredbo as well. I've heard good
Yeah.
vibes, and Narooma they reckon was fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
Giracool I went to a few times. That was really good. Look, yeah, there's some. I've been to a few, but I suppose I used to sort of really save all my pennies and my brownie points and all that sort of stuff for Blues Fest.
Yeah.
Was a bit of a thing. So.
Did you go there the year it got flooded out?
Oh yeah, there's lots of years that got flooded out, but yeah, there was one year there. It was at Red Devil Park, which is, if you know Byron at all, it's on the southern side out towards Suffolk Park.
Yeah.
And I was staying at Belongil Fields, and so I went out to get the bus, and there was these real big raindrops came. This is like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning,
Oh no.
and I remember going back. I don't think we slept all night. Just this relentless rain, and just woke up in the morning, and what had been a packed campsite was, probably 50% of the tent people had just packed all their stuff wet up in the car and gone.
Oh my
And
goodness. Yeah.
and and then lots of people who are obviously not experienced campers had pitched their tents in the bottom of the valley of the,
Oh
how
dear.
camping grounds have hills and valleys.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I remember there was some backpackers that were over from me, and I think they'd bought their tent at Aldi or something like that.
Oh dear.
And yeah, these girls got up, and there was like 6 or 7 inches of water in the bottom of the tent, but they were right in the bottom of the the drain part of the hills and valleys of the campground. So
They kind of read that a little bit wrong, didn't they?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. But I mean, in saying that, like the place was packed,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
it might have
yeah.
been the only piece of vacant ground that was available at the time. But
Well, that's true too.
all the
Yeah.
smart people had already got the high ground.
Yeah. Have you got a funny story from any gig that you've personally been playing at?
Um,
I mean, the tinny one's a pretty good one, but
yeah,
is
the
there
tinny
another?
ones. Oh, look, the best one is we played on the paddle wheeler,
Yeah.
and anyway, you'd sort of get like a really weird mix of people there. Sometimes you'd have people on there celebrating birthdays and that, and it could have been, like from kids celebrating their birthdays up to 80 or 90-year-old people.
Hmm.
Anyway, we were there one day, and this bus turned up, and it was a bunch of Italian pensioners from Melbourne. Anyway, there's about 50 or 60 of them, and they got off the bus and come up you had like a gangway that you had to come up, and then the paddle wheel's got an upstairs and a downstairs section,
Yes.
and we played that in the middle of the upstairs section was dance floor, and then we'd set up on the dance floor and play. And occasionally you get people up dancing, but usually it was only a 2-hour lunch cruise. And basically, as soon as you left the wharf, they'd start serving food,
Hmm.
and then you'd cruise up the river for an hour, turn around and come back, and basically they'd be eating probably, 60% of the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, these people got on the boat, and they were all nice. Anyway, one of the waitresses came past me. She said, "Vino." She goes, "Is that red or white?" I said, "It's just wine." I said, "Just ask them if they want red or white." So, okay. So she did that. Anyway, they're not drinking glasses of wine; they're drinking bottles.
Oh
And
dear.
then Ian, that owns the paddle wheeler, he said, "Look what I found." I don't know where he found it. He goes, "Look what I found the other day," because he knew these people were coming, and it was 50s and 60s hits from Italy.
Oh.
And so it was like, "Oh, mare,"
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and when the moon hits your eye like a big hits pie, it's amore.
Oh,
It was,
yeah.
and it was all Frank Sinatra. Well, they were just rocking, these people. And the more we went on the cruise, they're all singing and clapping. So on the way back, and the thing was, they all had iPads.
Oh, isn't that
So
interesting?
on the way back, they're all getting their iPads out and coming up on the dance floor with us and wanting to sing with us and getting their friends to film it. So we're rocking back through this thing, and we start playing like these boots are made for walking, and
Yeah,
and basically these people had driven all the way up from Melbourne,
yeah,
and they'd stopped at the Tucker Box or something at Gundagai
yeah.
and had a bit of breakfast or something there, and then had driven up to us, had gone just to go on the Hawkesbury River cruise.
Yeah.
And then we're going back. and they
Oh,
were absolutely smashed. But it was the funniest thing. And then they're all getting selfies with us, and then they're wanting to sing, and they're grabbing the microphone. Oh, man, it was, and they were all like 70, probably older,
they know how
70,
to
80
party.
Italians.
Yeah,
Oh,
oh my
man,
goodness.
nuts. So that's probably,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
oh, it was just absolutely, and they were just beautiful people. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
really, yeah, really precious time. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
fantastic. I love stories from gigs because there's always so many of them, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, what a precious thing that we've got that we can do, eh?
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's brilliant. Really is great fun, and for most part, people are really nice and understanding and friendly, and
Hmm.
appreciate what you're doing, and it's it's great fun doing it.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And so hopefully you continue to do it for a lot longer as well.
Oh yeah, well that's the plan.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So does the homebrew have any gigs coming up?
No, actually, we were doing a few at the Railway Hotel at Windsor, and that was good. Basically, yeah, because I run the jam, or was running the jam there on a Tuesday night, but so I had a good in there.
Hmm.
But the original bass player Mick, he had some health issues and gave up playing. So we've got a new bass player, and we had our first gig with him. Probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think, and went really well
Hmm.
with Ian. So now, but we haven't been able to get together since. I think we're getting together for a bit of a practice and rehearsal next week.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Now,
uh,
I'd like to talk a little bit about you do a jam night yourself, and you've just mentioned that it's moved from one venue to another.
yeah,
So tell us all about where you're moving it to, how you go about uh, sitting in with you guys, kind of like what's it all about and when it is.
yeah, I suppose. So we've been doing it at the Railway Hotel at Windsor. And it was it's a sort of small pub at the opposite end of Windsor to the main town
Hmm.
of Windsor. So if you know Windsor at all and you've been to the markets and
Yeah.
everything, it's right down the other end of George Street, which is like the main drag,
Hmm.
down near the railway station, which is probably be close to a kilometre or maybe a little bit more away from Windsor actual township.
Hmm.
But anyway, they had a room there that was used to be a restaurant, but detached from the pub. And yeah, with Leanne Goff. Anyway, we turned it into a. Leanne worked at the pub, and she's very passionate about music.
Yeah.
So she organised for us to do the little jam night there. The pub's currently up for it's for sale,
Oh.
and then Tates, which is the old Hawkesbury Hotel,
Hmm.
um, offered Leanne a job to go up there and hopefully get that going a bit more back to how it used to be as a music venue.
Yeah, right.
So the plan is that we're going to take the jam up to there probably on a Thursday night.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, basically, I suppose I sort of run it very similar to how Jim and Al ran the Carousel Jam in a way.
Well, it was a good formula.
Yeah. Well, I think so too.
Mm.
So, but yeah, so basically, yeah, there's usually a bit of a house band there, or we pull a house band together
On the
with
night, yeah.
people are there. A lot of the guys that are going are either professional or semi-professional musicians. But then there's other people that come along that I can see myself,
Yeah.
sort of 20 years ago in, guys again that have been, you know, playing guitar in their lounge room for, you know,
Yeah.
10 or 15 years, while they have young kids and
And get
families and
terrible, terrible bad habits.
yeah,
Like
that's it.
timing.
Yeah, timing and you know what? The worst. I shouldn't say this, but the worst ones that I found usually the musician or the player people aren't too bad. The the worst ones are the singers. The
Oh,
worst.
okay, Rick.
Yeah, no, they are. Don't tell me you haven't been to a jam night and heard someone and they don't listen to the band. They can
No.
hear the song in their head,
Yep.
the way it's played by, and it could be. And it's funny, especially people fresh out of their lounge room
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they don't turn up with any charts or anything, and they expect every musician there to know every song that's ever written.
Yeah, look, I can say I probably early on was guilty of that. But
Yeah.
but once I kind of sat there and watched and thought, oh, hang on, it's like the penny dropped. And,
Yeah.
for all those listeners out there that love a karaoke, singing with a live band is definitely not karaoke.
Not karaoke, yeah.
No, you've actually got to listen to all the different parts being played. It's and because we're live people, we always do things sometimes a little bit differently, or sometimes the
They'll be
guitarist
different.
bungs an extra note in, or an alternative chord that still works, but they may not be ready for. I've seen that quite a lot actually. But it's a great learning curve, but
It is.
it's really not playing to singing to a karaoke track at all.
But it's much easier now with our electronic whiz-bangery that we've got now. I mean, someone will say, "Oh, do you know this song?" Or you go, "Oh, well, I don't know it." I mean, I've got an iPad with, I think it's probably got, I haven't looked at it lately, but it'd probably have 400 songs on it.
Yeah, right.
And you can just go in if someone says, "Oh, well, do you know this song?" "Oh, well, I know it, but," and you can go in, you download, it takes you a couple of minutes to download a chord chart for it, work out what key they want to sing it in. You go into the software, you change the key, so we are a little bit spoilt now.
I
rather than
think we absolutely are, yes.
trying to sit down with a record playing or a cassette tape and stopping it and pausing it and then trying to pick your guitar up at the right point to try and, these young kids will never know our pain.
No, definitely not. And of course, with a cassette player, the more you rewound it and the more you stopped it and paused it and all that kind of jazz, the more it stretched the damn tape.
Tape, yeah, that's it. The pitch changed.
The pitch changed. I think that's hilarious. And I find that too with the older recordings. And AC/DC is a great example, actually. Highway to Hell, I suppose, or any of those. You try and play, so say they're playing in D, you try and play it in D to that, and it's not kind of pitched the same. And it's just like, hang on, why is that not the same? But thank goodness we've got programs now that you can actually put it in the correct pitch.
Even with, I've got an old record player which had an adjustment on it that you could speed it up and you could actually tune your guitar and then speed the record up or slow it down so that it brought it back to pitch.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Because the speed of your record player will knock your pitch out. But you can't do that with a cassette. But also, I had the same thing with a CD player. And it was just like a little bookshelf one. And I'd had a fairly good branded one that had stopped working. And I'd bought this cheaper one. And then when I bought the cheaper one, it didn't pitch properly.
Aye.
Yeah, so it can be a bit of a bit of a trap for players, but
It can,
yeah,
and also too, if you're a vocalist and you're singing and you're pitching to that as
to
well,
that, yeah,
and
yeah.
then you go and do it live, it's like, why does that sound so
It's so different.
bad?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the reason why, and people don't realise that, I guess.
No,
Yeah. And also
no,
too, a lot of those karaoke tracks, a lot of the time people don't even know, because I've seen it happen at jam nights. People don't even know that the karaoke track they're playing or singing to is in F, for example,
yeah,
and it's actually, you know, the normal key of the song is totally different.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then there's songs that people play. Um, and we talked about before long train running.
Yeah.
Now that's originally in G or G minor.
Mm.
That's the Doobie Brothers key, but a lot of people play that in E.
Yeah.
Mainly because then if you hit the top string E note, it doesn't sound bad. So, but also a lot of people find it easier to pitch to E than they do at that higher register G. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but that's one that quite often gets moved around. So
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's an awesome thing when a guitarist can go, what key are you doing it in? And honestly, and I was the same at first, I'm like, I don't know, the original key. Yeah,
yeah,
but what key do you want it in? And I'm like, I don't know. So you have to learn all these things.
yeah, you
And
have to know.
yeah, and so luckily guitarists can go, oh, yeah, no, you sing it in this key, and then they can go away with it. So
Yeah,
it's a big learning curve for people going to a jam for the first time or an open mic night. You know, it's so I wish you all the best with that. Now that's coming up at Tates Hotel out at Windsor.
yeah.
Now, when are you starting? Or
Well,
have you started?
hopefully next Thursday, so the 14th.
And is it going to be a weekly event?
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. And what time should people rock up?
We try and kick off about 7. So yeah. I'm still getting PAs and drums and all that sort of stuff sorted, but I'll try and get that done. The beauty about the other place that we were at before was it was a dedicated room, so we could sort of get everything set up and just leave it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, when we went back the next week, it was all still there in the same way as what we'd left it. Although,
That'd be ideal, wouldn't it? I guess. Yeah.
yeah, but
You don't want to be
I
lugging
think
gear in and out.
yeah, I think at Tate's it's going to be different. But we had the last jam that we had at the railway. We used, I think, the PA that we're going to use, and it worked quite well.
Good.
Yeah, look, it's. I mean, we've had we have some issues there over the time with the PA not quite working right as well as it should have, could have, and it was someone else's PA, and
Well, these things are all a learning curve, aren't they?
Oh, they are, yeah.
Yeah, so I wish you all the best with that, and hopefully we can come out on a Thursday night one time
Yeah.
and support you, because I would really love to do that.
Yeah,
And
no, it'd be great to see you and Rob.
yeah. All right then. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me tonight, Rick. I've really enjoyed our conversation, and I'm
Yep,
sure the
me
listeners
too.
will as well.
No,
So what
awesome.
we'll do is you can send me some links for
Yep.
different things that you've got going on, and I'll pop them in the description of this interview.
Yep, not a problem. That's
All right.
great.
Thank you so
Good on
much,
you.
Rick.
Thanks, Crystal. Have a good one.
You too. Good night.
See ya. Keep up the good work.
Thank
See
you
ya.
very much. Thank you.
No worries.
Bye-bye. Bye.
See ya.
And that was Rick Kelly. You have been listening to Conversations with Crystal, and I'm your hostess, Crystal. And until next week, stay happy, stay safe, stay cool, stay awesome, and of course, stay tuned to this channel. Good night.